After 7 years, The Boys show has finally ended. It's genuinely trash. I have been with The Boys since 2019 because back then I was around 12 years old. And at that age, this series felt extremely hard. During season 1, Homelander was genuinely scary to watch because you could never predict what he was going to do next. If I talk about the characters, the first one that comes up is Soldier Boy. What did they actually do with such a character? I did not understand the payoff at all. The storyline around him felt confusing and unsatisfying. Whenever he appeared on screen, you could feel his aura and presence, but now it feels like it all went to waste. It feels like all the build up around him did not lead to anything meaningful. Maybe the only explanation is that they are planning a spin off series or some separate project featuring Soldier Boy. And it is possible, since he is not actually dead in the story. Now, creator of The Boys is how they handled Homelander over time. In season 1, you could not clearly predict what he would do next. And even though he was terrifying, he still had intelligence and control. He was strategic, calm when needed, and capable of managing situations in a very calculated way. But as the seasons progress, his character starts to feel increasingly inconsistent. That reduces the original impact he had as a powerful antagonist. Still, it can be said that Anthony Starr carries The Boys on his shoulders with his performance as Homelander, and that is one of the biggest reasons the show still feels watchable. By the later seasons, he is still extremely powerful, but the writing shifts his focus more toward emotional instability and isolation. He begins to show a god complex, but at the same time struggles internally with loneliness and lack of genuine connection. Because of that, instead of feeling like a consistently strong antagonist, he sometimes feels inconsistent compared to his season 1 portrayal. I don't think there was any real need to kill Billy Butcher at the end. It didn't really make much sense to me. Yeah, I understand they were probably trying to create an emotional or dramatic payoff, but honestly, the story could have worked even without killing him. If I talk only about the final episode, then Kimiko was probably the character I liked the most. Because in the last episode of the final season, she finally showed some of that aggressive energy again, similar to how she felt back in season 1. For a long time in the middle seasons, it felt like her character had completely changed and lost that intensity. The biggest problem with The Boys is the writing, how the creators structure the story and build the narrative. They constantly raise expectations. Even the posters and promotional material feel like clickbait, similar to how YouTube thumbnails exaggerate things just to grab attention. And another issue is the mismatch between expectation and it is a superhero show, but in season 5, characters barely use their powers at all. Even in situations where powers should matter, most fights end up being simple hand to hand combat. I have no clear idea about the budget. This is a Prime Video original show, and naturally it should have a good budget because there are not many shows on Prime Video with this level of hype. For example, if I say that Prime Video spends a huge amount of money on a show like The Rings of Power, reportedly around $50 to $65 million per episode, then if they are spending that much on a show like that, then where exactly is the budget going if they are not spending it properly on a show like The Boys? Either the show is not getting enough budget, or even if it is getting enough budget, the output still feels underwhelming. In both cases, it has failed. A lot of the events that happened season 5, if they had happened in an earlier, it would not have been a problem. For example, the focus on V1 takes up multiple episodes, but it does not really lead to a satisfying payoff. Before V1 was introduced, it felt like once Homelander got it, he was going to do something absolutely insane, like becoming completely unstoppable. The show created huge expectations around it, and people imagined massive consequences, but in the end, flat. Honestly, I did not want the climax to end inside a simple room fight. I expected something much bigger and grander than that. My final verdict is that it was a good time, but I would call it a bad execution overall, almost a disappointment. If someone new is planning to watch it, just try it. I assure you, you will end up somewhere in the middle